एक मिनट रुक जाओ, रेडी होने दो। चलो ये कर लेते हैं, दिस कुड बी अ ग्रेट इंट्रो।
Hi, I'm Akshay.
Hi, this is Saurabh, and you are listening to the Founder Thesis podcast. We meet some of the most celebrated startup founders in the country.
And we want to learn how to build a unicorn.
Hi, I'm Tanutejas, founder of ShopKirana.
Nothing comes easy in life, and it is those hard-learned lessons that teach us the true value of struggle and commitment. Our guest today mastered the art of selling when he was just in school. From selling wallpapers door to door to building a platform for artists and art enthusiasts, Tanutejas has tried it all. But one idea that turned the tables for him was creating a platform for everyday retailers where he solved their problems with the help of technology and supply chain management. And that was it. The Indian market was introduced to ShopKirana, a made in India
game changer innovation
that has been backed by some of the biggest names in the VC world. Tune in, for in this episode, Akshay Dutt unwraps the tale of Tanutejas Saraswat and the rollercoaster story of his innovation, ShopKirana.
हिंदुस्तान एक ऐसा मेरे को देश लगता है कि चाहे आप गलत भी कर रहे हो तो भी आप पूरा जीवन कर सकते हो, इतना बड़ा मार्केट है। आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा और आपको नंबर आते रहेंगे, राइट? But I have always learned that when you realize something, that something you did wrong and mistake, and if you continue that the next day, then I find it a blunder. So in Shop Kirana, I'll share a couple of journey that how we actually cultured the Shop Kirana in this way, in this thought process. So and that paint like at that point of time, so while I was doing that paintings and all. It was a fun journey. Again, like the sponsoring was the Napster era. It was sponsoring. I still have the connection with all those clients because I felt that it's always a lifelong journey because the kind of work I did in the first 1 or 2 years in Napster era, I didn't hustle in the same way for the same people for the rest of my life. So I just worked for the 2 years. I created a long-lasting relationship, and then it became the cash cow. So it was like sponsoring other projects and all. So again, I realized that okay, this is not scalable. And then again, like when you're an entrepreneur, you meet a same kind of a mindset and all. So in Napster era, when I converted the Napster era into a digital thing, I was doing all digital solutions also. I started creating websites also. I started creating a marketplaces also. I started like selling softwares also because I realized कि यार बनाने वाले बहुत है दुनिया में, बेचने वाले नहीं है लोग या डिमांड वाले नहीं है। So maybe if I'm non-tech say people, but I can actually get 100 people क्योंकि उनको शायद बेचना नहीं आता। So I always used to go to the clients and I always used to like pitch whatever like the thing can be sold. So it's never about that if I don't sell the ERP, I never like saw the ERP in my life, but I sold an ERP and I said, yeah, everything like can be done. Why? Because obviously I had like a little bit of knowledge of the technology, so I used to like talk in that terminology, which I think the world says a client servicing. So I polished my client servicing, and I used to get the job, and then I used to give those work to the freelancer or maybe like other companies in the city and I was always the kind of a escrow account between the clients and all. Uh, and that point of time on a Sunday, beautiful, it was like rainy day, and the Sunday I got a call from a guy, and he wanted to again wanted to work on a marketing office like company in a digital way, from creating a website to SEO and like social media and everything. And he wanted to meet me. I said yes. I called this guy in my office. We met and we closed the deal within 1 hour, and we started working. And I had no idea about this guy. He just like met. We just like he came, we met. He gave me an order. He got convinced. Because I explained him that creating a website don't run the business. Running a business run the business.
Yeah,
So it's
right,
not about like
right.
if you
Yeah.
think it's so like I can help you in that. So that was kind of a pitching, which really impressed me. So uh, and he went back. We started working, and I think like in 2 3 months we completed the project. I never completed the project. I mean, there was like vendors who completed the project. I was always in between, and like many vendors, in his particular project, I know like couple of like vendors fucked up the project also, and I got like scolded a very big time because I was responsible. But I never like spoiled my relationship like in my life with anyone like till today. No matter like if any loss like happened on any party side. And this guy, I had no idea where this guy works, who he is. Like he just came up with a company named Caramel Organics. I saw him as a client, and in 2 3 months, within 2 3 months, we met like 4 5 times. And after that, like when I hand over the project, so whenever he used to come in North, we used to meet and we used to have a cup of coffee and we used to share different entrepreneurship idea. I used to like share what we are doing, and he used to like talk about ideas and ideas. And one day he came and he said, "Okay, so like I said, at that paint life, uh, along the paint life, I was doing a similar kind of a thing for grocery, uh, and the company name was the same, like Shop Kirana. So again, it was not a like a registered company; it was just a domain. So the idea was when this like paint life like I started knowing that it's I'm unable to scale this model and it's not working for me. So I found that okay was the next thing, which is not like easy, and it's a very big pain point, and for the masses I always wanted to go for the masses. And I at that one time there was no e-grocery portals in Indore. I mean, like I started Madhya Pradesh very first e-grocery portal with the name of Shop Kirana. I'm talking about 9 years back, approximately. Again, it was just a like couple of people trying to figure out something. The model was very simple. I used to buy from Walmart, and I used to sell everything on my website. So there was a website, e-commerce website. People buy from that website. I go to Walmart. I buy from Walmart. I add maybe like 5 to 10% of the margin on those products, and then I take a logistic, maybe a bikes or scooters or moped or blah blah blah, and then used to deliver the products to this homes. And I was doing that.
So this was like a Grover's big basket kind of a model, basically.
It was more. It was not neither the Grofer nor the Big Basket. I mean, I because I never had the warehouse, so I what I did, I went towards this Metro and Best Price, and I convinced one of the manager of Metro and Best Price that like you can sell to the whole city. Like why you are asking people to come here, because not everyone can come here, and so why not you share your pricing list to me, and I have this website which I can promise you that exclusively will sell all the products which is Walmart is selling. So in reality, you are getting the order. I'm just like adding like my service, right? So I got like warehouse of Flipkart, this best price. I got like pricing of the like best price. So I never invested any on the working capital, because in like we
And you charge the commission to best price for these orders.
I added up my commission actually on that on part of that.
Okay, you added.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay,
like
okay.
best price, officially was never involved. It was just one manager who was helping me with the price list of the best price. I think today it is like easily available, but at that point of time, best price was not taking order on the website also. So they were very conscious that pricing should not get exposed. So it was a very big win for me. And then after a couple of months, this guy said no, because of the heavy competition from the metro. So like it looked like someone is leaking the prices of a best price to the outside world. So this guy stopped helping me. Um, I'll share about the journey of this guy also, and it's very interesting that how really things connect in the future, like when you really don't know who the person was. So this guy said like no, and like I came back, and I went towards Metro. I convinced Metro. I when Metro said no, I went to the big wholesaler of a city. I made him a supplier. So it was just one supplier. So it was not a marketplace, just one supplier whose prices were there. I was buying from them, and I was delivering to the people home. And the biggest problem which I started feeling, at that point, I mean that time we was like listening, still we like here today, that there's a lot of competition from modern retailers. There's a lot of competition from e-commerce. There's a lot of competition from internet companies. And I was listening to the same thing at that point of time also, because obviously it's right to say, because I also jumped into like creating something in e-commerce, and it can be the right saying. But the data was saying something else while working in a shop kirana. I was like working. So data used to say that अगर मैं कोई एक गली के अंदर किसी को डिलीवर कर रहा हूँ, और अगर 10 घर है, तो उस 10 घर में से 7 लोग कोई ऑनलाइन कंपनी के पास जा ही नहीं रहे हैं, ना वो मॉडर्न दुकान के पास जा रहे हैं, वो जा रहे हैं किराना दुकान के पास में, कोई रिटेलर के पास में जा रहे हैं, राइट? व्हिच वाज़ वेरी शॉकिंग फॉर मी, बिकॉज़ आई सेड कि यार वहाँ पे वैल्यू क्या ही मिल रही है? मतलब आपको घर बैठे लाके दे रहे हैं, आपको कोई प्राइस में लाके दे रहे हैं, मतलब व्हाई? एंड व्हेन आई वाज़ रनिंग like Shop Kirana, like started this project, and I majorly started to understand the psychology of a customers, because I believe that there is not a single company in the whole world who ever cracked the B2C model of a grocery. Even today, there is no single company, and that one of time it was a kind of a very big thing. So I said like why, like I am really curious about the like consumer psychology, why, like why even after adding this thing, people are not really buying things online. So and then like moving forward while continuing that project, I changed a lot of like back end operation and business model, just to figure out the next behavior, how to increase the sales, how to increase sales. So I started from maybe like 5 or 10 people in the office colony, and then it scaled to maybe like 5,000 plus customers in a city. uh, I tried scaling it to a couple of cities with the help of franchisee. Uh, it was
इसमें आपको कस्टमर एक्विजिशन कैसे कर रहे थे आप? लाइक 5000, इफ यू हैड 5000 कस्टमर्स तो
राइट। सो हम कैसे करते हैं, तो मैं आपको बताता हूँ। जैसे मैंने एज़ एन एंटरप्रेन्योर जो मैंने 9th क्लास से किया, सो मेरे को जो चीज़ें काम कर गई, वो मेरे को लगता है कि वो कर गई है, तो वो हमेशा ही करेंगी। सो व्हेन वी हियर अबाउट द मार्केटिंग, आई बिलीव कि लाइक टू डू अ सेल, यू डोंट नीड टू डू अ मार्केटिंग। I mean, see, marketing is something else. To do a jump in sales, you need to do a marketing. But to run a business, you don't need any kind of marketing. Second, like it's always a people game. So I don't believe कि यार जब तक आप इंसान को नहीं पता लगेगा और आपसे नहीं बात करेगा, तब तक वो शुरुआत में कन्विंस नहीं हो सकता है। I mean, हम बात ज़रूर करेंगे, like everything is on the technology, but again, it will contradict the point that why even today, even after having all the technology in the world, 92% market share into the hands of offline market. The only reason is it's a very behavior thing which we are seeing. So वो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था। So what we did, we pasted like posters on roads. We pasted, हम ऐसे स्टॉल लेके, जो एक होलसेल दुकान होती है, उसके सामने जाके खड़े होते थे, यहाँ तक आने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। Obviously which got backfired from the wholesaler, and हम कॉलेजेस में जाते थे, एंड देन हमने वो फिगर आउट किया कि कैन वी पिच दोज़ पीपल जिनके पेरेंट्स यहाँ पे रहते हैं, बट द किड्स एक्चुअली स्टे आउटसाइड, एंड दीज़ किड्स मस्ट बी वर्किंग किड्स। तो वो अपने पेरेंट्स को एक वेबसाइट के थ्रू अपने घर में डिलीवर करा सकते थे, उनके पेरेंट्स को जाना पड़ेगा। सो वी समहाउ गॉट लाइक 10 to 15 such kind of a families, and then we like started taking a referral kind of a thing. Then it worked. Then we had like 4 5 promoters and interns we hired, who used to go on the road, and every home they used to do everything on their mobile devices, और घर में जाके सिखाते थे कि see how easy it is, how convenient it is. So एकदम like hardcore sales, and by using maybe newspaper pamphlets, that's how like we scaled like from 0 to 5,000 kind of like customer base. Uh, again,
एंड आपकी कितना रेवेन्यू हो रही थी?
the revenue was less than 50 lakhs. It's in a whole year. And it's, I mean, today when I see it's obviously like at that point of time, it was a very big thing for us in terms of like grocery, in terms of new thing in MP. Like we thought like we have cracked the model because it was a profitable model. I mean, we didn't invest a much, but we earned like 10 lakhs plus kind of a like amount from that model, because from backend we were like in B2C, it's a very good margin. I mean, it was not a funded thing. It was, I mean, that time I was not too much aware about the VC thing and all. but while understanding the market, that how companies and people, other people help you, I realized, okay, there is some competition, there are business plans competition. If they like it, they can invest like 1 crore. Let me go there and pitch them the idea because it's working and it's making me money. Maybe like it's making money for 5 people's salary, but it is making money. So it's not like that kind of a thing. Because I mean, in a startup world, whatever we hear today, कि like पैसा कमाना चाहिए, I think ये तो कभी बात ही नहीं होनी चाहिए business की. I mean, business चालू ही पैसा कमाने के लिए होता है, right? I mean, so I have never heard this thing from my father's mouth in my whole life कि यार धंधा करो तो पैसा तो कमाना पड़ेगा. I thought धंधा करते ही पैसा कमाने के लिए, तो ये तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं है. So I like even in the paint life also, and in the shop kirana and in advertisement, everything was profitable because it was everything was bootstrapped. In शॉपकिराना व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग इट एंड जब हमको स्केल करना था कि यार चल इसको अच्छा सा स्केल करते हैं, आई थॉट कि यार पैसा चाहिए. और सो आई डिड समथिंग क्रिएटिव. It's very interesting, like Akshay, because like what's really happening in reality in this on this call, actually recalling the journey. So I never thought like I'm going to like, talk about the journey like in this way. So what I did, I knocked like the door of like a couple of investors who said no. So I created a
Hmm. Yeah, these were like Indore-based investors.
yes, in Robbins investors. Everyone said no. Then I went to I went to Bombay. There was like some, I think, NASCOM or Mumbai Angels something कुछ event. मैंने वहाँ पे भी किया था. I represented like Paint Life there. Again, I got rejected. There was this guy of Mumbai Angels. At that point of time, he used to work, Ashish Dave. I am still connected with this person. One of the most beautiful person I've met. Because why it's beautiful? Because I met him around like maybe 10 years back, and this I'm connected from the that day itself, and he has seen all the journey of me. So, and that's why I never disconnect with people, because I am always sure that in future you are going to see some kind of a journey. So I represented Painter. I got rejected. So what I did I created a proposal. We call initial public offering, right? So what I did initial family offering. So I created IFO. I created like 4 page document, and I explained the vision, that what I wanted to do. I explained like कि हमारा क्या revenue है, क्या number है, हम क्या करना चाह रहे हैं. To be very honestly, वो जो number मैंने explain किए थे, वो शायद आज हम भी अपनी deck में दिखाने से डरते हैं कि यार ये बकवास लगता है, ये इतना मतलब थोड़ी real में बात कर रहा हूँ. But I was very I think immature in understanding कि यार नहीं हमको तो हिंदुस्तानी चाहिए. And I wrote that number, and it was a very proper documentation kind of thing. In reality, there's nothing documentation about the investors. I mean, I'm like instead of like asking my dad or family for money, I'm like restructuring in such a way that अगर आप help कर रहे हो तो आप business को कर रहे हो, आप मेरे को नहीं कर रहे. So people loved it. I got money from 10 to 12 family members within like 24 to 48 hours. Some distance relative also sent me amount of money, and I used that money to continue that project. And then while doing that, when I said that मेरे को समझ में आया कि like people are going towards the Kirana stores, they are not going towards online or modern. Like 90% still there. So like why this thing is happening? So I realized like my competition is not other online organization or the modern retailers. My competitions are Kirana stores. So and when I saw the data, I realized there are 10 like 7 to 8,000 Kirana stores in a city, and there are 9 million Kirana stores in this country. I don't think I can like fight with these Kirana stores, and I can create a very healthy competition for these Kirana stores, because I mean there is a unproportionate number for both the place. And I used to crack a joke at that time always कि जब बोलते हैं कि यार आप अच्छा कल को अमेज़न ऐसा करेगा तो क्या करोगे? या बिग बास्केट करेगा तो क्या करेगा? एंड आई ऑलवेज से कि सी मतलब कॉम्पिटिशन ज़्यादा किराना स्टोर, मेरा ऑनलाइन है ही नहीं. मतलब मैंने कहा वो क्या, कौन क्या करेगा? कोई भी तो नहीं कर पा रहा. दिक्कत वही तो है हिंदुस्तान में, हम बेसिक प्रॉब्लम क्यों समझ रहे हैं? सो व्हाट आई डिड, आई कन्वर्टेड दैट मॉडल, और जहाँ मैं बेस्ट प्राइस से खरीद रहा था, वो करते-करते मैं उसको मार्केट प्लेस पे लेके आया. एंड देन आई समहाउ कन्वर्टेड द मॉडल इनटू ग्रॉफर मॉडल. तो मैंने उसको ग्रॉफर टाइप में बनाया उसको. एंड ग्रॉफर में आई सेड कि यार मैं पैसा तो नहीं लगा रहा लॉजिस्टिक में, क्योंकि मेरे को ये आगे स्केल होता तो नहीं दिख रहा. तो मेरे को कंटिन्यू करना है इसको, लेकिन पैसा नहीं लगाना जब तक फिगर आउट नहीं हो कि यार व्हाट्स द नेक्स्ट जंप. सो व्हाट आई डिड, इंस्टेड ऑफ लाइक मी गोइंग देयर एंड ऑल, मैंने कहा लेट मी क्रिएट लाइक सेलर, क्योंकि डिमांड है प्लेटफॉर्म पे. तो पीछे रिटेलर बना देते हैं, इनको बोलते हैं तुम्हारे पास ही आएगी, तुम ही डिलीवर कर देना, और कुछ पैसा नहीं चाहिए हमको. तो हमने सब कुछ बना रखा है, सब फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है, तुम कर लो एंड विल फिगर आउट. So I shifted that thing. एंड इस पूरी जर्नी में जब ये चल रहा था, तब मेरे एडवर्टाइज़मेंट भी चल रहा था, राइट? एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम मैं एडवर्टाइज़मेंट में एक बंदे से भी मिला था और जिसका कैरमल ऑर्गेनिक्स मेरे पास में क्लाइंट आया था एंड आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग एंड आई यूज्ड टू सिट विद दिस गाय इन अ मंथ और 2 टू डिस्कस न्यू आइडियाज़ एंड ऑल। एंड उसने मेरे से खूब सारा पूछा मेरे शॉप किराने के बारे में, तुम कैसे करते हो? क्या चैलेंजेस आ रहे हैं? ये है। एंड आई रियली लव द डिस्कशन व्हेनेवर आई हैड विद दिस गाय बिकॉज़ आई इट वाज़ अ वेरी नॉलेजेबल डिस्कशन। तो नॉर्मल होता है व्हेन यू लाइक अंडरस्टैंड ईच अदर्स डीएनए एंड इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ लाइक सेम सो आप you can actually understand the like from the context point of view or the vision point of view and you can talk very big things also with the person. So I was very comfortable in talking the projects and ideas I was doing what I'm trying to do and all. So one day this guy came. After knowing this guy for 1 year मेरे को 1 साल तक नहीं पता था कौन है, क्या बैकग्राउंड एंड ऑल है। तो 1 साल बाद ये बंदा मेरे पास में आता है। मेरे को कॉफ़ी पे लेके जाता है एंड एक अपनी किताब नोटबुक खोलता है एंड मैंने आपको ये भी बताया था जर्नी में कि आई मेट अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हू ऑफर्ड मी मनी, हू ऑफर्ड मी लाइक फ्लोर और हाउस और लाइक ऑफिसेज़ व्हिच आई नेवर एक्सेप्टेड। Uh, no one actually offered me the knowledge, like no one. एंड जब वो मैं शॉप किराना में स्ट्रगल कर रहा था कि यार कॉम्पिटिशन ही मेरा किराना है। सो दिस गाय केम, ही ओपन्ड द नोटबुक, ही ड्रॉ द डायग्राम ऑफ द इंडिया रिटेल एंड ही सेड, "दिस इज अ $600 बिलियन मार्केट, 92% market is controlled by the mom and pop store and there are thousands of brands out there and it is one of the most unorganized market. It is one of the most untapped market in the whole world. And the biggest problem of this market is no one is focusing on connecting the kirana store with the brands. Everyone is focusing on connecting the people like you sitting at home." And it really stuck my mind. And I said, okay. And he said, if someone can create a platform, a single platform which connect both the parties, I think it will be worth an idea to die for because you will need to spend the whole life to actually do that because the numbers are 9 million. And why these numbers are very big? Because even like after 100 years of Unilever, they are connected with 6 million directly and indirectly. They are also not connected with 9 million. So we are talking about that kind of like scale. I think like within like 5 minutes, I got convinced. Okay, and I said, okay, so what I'm doing, I'm focusing on the direct end consumer. But this guy is showing me a picture that if you like, you cannot kill mom and pop stores. So why not empower mom and pop stores and make them the next level of the like big guy, right? And as an entrepreneur, I like within 5 minutes, I said, done. I'm going to get this done. Uh, I had no idea who this guy was. I just saw this guy as
Which month, which year was this?
so this was about 2014. We met in 2013, and in 2013 to 2014, we talked a lot. We did a lot of things, and I think in 2014, in mid of 2014, he came forward and then he said that what if someone can do that and all this thing. So and then I got very curious. Next day, I gave him a call that yep, I think you're right. Like हिंदुस्तान में ये नहीं चलेगा जो हम करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं जो और भी करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं because everyone is trying to copy and paste the US model. यूएस में लेकिन किराना खरीदने के लिए जाना पड़ता है तो 10-20 किलोमीटर ट्रेवल करना पड़ता है पर हिंदुस्तान में no matter wherever you are sitting within 15 minutes walking outside there is one retail store, right? So I said, "Ki, this is so true. I mean, not everything is going to be copy and paste in this country. It has to be like very hybrid model and different model." And now the whole model was shifted from B2C to B2B, right? And he said, like, what about the structure of the organization of what you are currently operating? And I said, see, I was not like operating and I'm not like running just for like setting out a vision because I was trying to figure out what's the unlock. I mean, I never like thought about like reaching to millions and millions of customers and do the sale. I was just understanding the pain problem that why people don't buy. And I have like 10 reasons that why people buy now. Because 5,000 people are buying. I know these are the 5 points. That's why they are buying. So I solved something in the psychological way. But after understanding his words and like his knowledge, I realized the biggest vision actually is to empower retailers. I mean, if someone can connect 9 million retailers, and it is going to be a game changer. So next day I gave him a call and I said, like, let's do this. Let's do this very formal way. Let's create a company. Let's create a private limited organization. And I was so convinced. So I said that I was running this company. I was running like Napster era. I was like trying this project, and I was trying like a few other projects which Napster era was sponsoring. And when I met this person, and in the next day when I decided to start working, and he is my co-founder, and this guy, and immediately what I did, I actually stopped in all the operation of all the other thing which I was doing. I shut down all the things. Um, it made me so comfortable that this is the only thing which is going to work in this country. And I'm talking about the 2014 like mid, right? And uh, I never sold in a distribution model. I never knew कि retailer को सामान कैसे मिलता है. I always knew कि यार घर में हमको किराना चाहिए होता है तो हम कहाँ जाते हैं, but नहीं पता था किराना वाला कहाँ जाता है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है and all that. So for 2 months we went to the market. We understanding realized like okay, these are the pain problems. इतनी सारी पेन प्रॉब्लम है तो उसमें से हम एक पकड़ते हैं which is like sourcing. क्योंकि अगर हमने सोर्सिंग सॉल्व कर दिया किसी का, और अगर हमने सामान किसी की दुकान में आना-जाना कर दिया, तो शायद हम हज़ार चीज़ें और कर लेंगे टेक्नोलॉजी की. So we started with the vision and we said, okay, this is the vision. So I'll explain you why I got convinced and why I started working with this person when I said no to other person, because he was the only person in I think like in those 4 5 years, he was the only person who offered me the knowledge instead of the money or the other like bullshit thing. He expressed the intention, and then I came to know the background of this person. So the background of this person is, so this guy coming from a very small village in MP. It's a Samely Rupa. It's a very small village. There's less than 100 families live there. His father runs a Kirana store, and his father travels 15 kilometers to Shamgarh every single day to buy grocery for the gaon. And he got out from the village. He studied hard. He wrote GATE. He became gold medalist, number one India ranking. He joined PNG. He started working in a supply chain in PNG. So what in reality, why this guy like came forward with this kind of a thought process is because the person has seen the pain problem of his own father, which is a Kirana guy, and then the person while joining a supply chain, so he used to work in a supply chain of Tide. जो हिंदुस्तान में Tide आता है पूरा Tide प्रोडक्ट आता है, so he was the like the supply chain guy for the Tide. So he saw the pain problem of world's fastest growing FMCG company also. And that's how like he came and he said, can like someone connect both the parties, that my dad and this company, because my dad like my dad, there are millions of people are traveling every day. So and I think like people connect with the journey the way people used to connect with me. I connected with someone. I like immediately I purchased this thing, and I found okay, this is really the pain problem. And when I studied like harder and when I went to the market, I realized there are thousands more problem. But if someone can pick up the sourcing, it can really like change the like whole dynamic. So in 2015, officially December, we registered a company, ShopKirana E-Trading Private Limited. It was the very first private limited company for like in my life. I mean, I started from proprietorship of Napster era. So like in 2015, we registered this firm. Like 2014 December, we registered this firm officially. Like Deepak left his job in PNG, and there's a third partner, Sumit Godawat. I met Sumit via Deepak. Sumit used to work in PNG. Sumit used to work in a product launch team, and Deepak and Sumit knew each other before I knew Sumit, because they used to work in the same company. So the way Deepak was talking to me, in the same way Deepak was talking to the Sumit also. So Deepak was the center of the like the person who connected all three of us. Sumit coming from a business family, and he was also in a PNG. After PNG, he was exploring like certain things, and when he used to when they used to talk with each other, they used to discuss about this retail problem and discussion. And we sold this idea, and like Sumit also got sold on the idea, and Sumit also left PNG, and we joined together and we started like ShopKirana all together. So how so this is in like ShopKirana, obviously this is that particular thing where I think it can like we can do for the whole life. I mean, and that's why like it took me less than one day to decide that I'm not going to like run or any other thing. So whatever the savings I have, I'll be running on all the money, but I'm not going to like come. I'm not going to let any other thing run to create a monthly kind of a thing. Because I believe like once you find out something, you need to go all in. I think I always had the confidence that no matter like if I fail at any kind of a level, I can always like go back and always do something to get certain kind of like money. So I think it made me like super comfortable. uh, why I'm saying all this thing, because like when you're really serious about, like, today Shop Kirana is at like very different level. I used to fascinate about those like 25 people at the call center, and I used to like really passionately used to admire the entrepreneur or founder of that call center. And today, like in Shop Kirana, there are more than 1,000 people are working. We are doing like more than 500 crore plus sale. So obviously, like coming from that like journey, and like coming to the Indore, and then the college is getting shut down, and like writing cat where like I'm getting less than 20 percentile, and then joining hands as a co-founder with those people who actually became the gold medalist and gate topper. So I think like the life, obviously, like once you become an entrepreneur, you start like doing certain things without having the like perception that what how others are performing and like doing, and like should I really follow the structure of like 10 to 5. I think the dots really connect like forward, and like we see this. Okay, it's very interesting.
So, how did you start with getting Kiranas, and वो कैसे traction कैसा रहा? Like, first year में कितने Kiranas आपने sign up किए, and how did that growth happen?
राइट। सो हमने जब चालू किया तो ऑब्वियसली पहले मैं लाइक आई सेड आई हैड ज़ीरो आइडिया कि किराना का बिज़नेस कैसे होता है। तो लाइक एज़ अ बिज़नेस मेरे को आज भी हम कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट उठाते हैं, तो वी डू द सेम थिंग व्हिच वी डिड ऑन द वेरी फर्स्ट डे कि गो एंड मीट द कस्टमर। आई रियलाइज़्ड लाइक इन आवर बिज़नेस लाइक मीटिंग द कस्टमर्स, लाइक फाइंडिंग द कस्टमर इज़ द बिगेस्ट थिंग इन अ बिज़नेस। तो जब मैं एडवर्टाइज़मेंट का वर्क कर रहा था, तो मेरे को सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था कि आज कस्टमर कौन है मेरा? कौन पैसा लगाना चाहता है मार्केटिंग में, राइट? But in B2B shop Kirana, I have realized कि a lot of like bigger things are solved because I know who the customers are. मेरे को पता है कहाँ पे बैठा है, और मेरे को पता है क्या खरीदता है, और मेरे को पता है कितने प्राइस पे खरीदता है. So everything is so simple. Now the real challenge is, can you convince that person to have a trust on you, और वो उस ट्रस्ट को खत्म करे जो पिछले 5, 7, 10, 15, 20, 25 साल से जिससे वो डील कर रहा है। सो हिंदुस्तान में जो बिज़नेस होता है, मेरा ऐसा मानना है रिलेशन पे बहुत होता है, राइट? सो इन B2B इट हैपेंस अ लॉट। A retailer actually is dependent on the distributor because he know that distributor personal level पे. That's why he is connected. A retailer don't switch, no matter like आप कितनी अच्छी प्राइसिंग दोगे, शुरुआत में कोई भी दोगे, रिटेलर आप पे स्विच नहीं होती दुकान, क्योंकि ही डोंट ट्रस्ट यू कि कल को आप चले गए तो कौन देगा? जिसका रिश्ता खराब कर दिया तो वो भी नहीं देगा अब तो। सो दैट्स हाउ लाइक इट्स बीन मेसी, राइट? So we realize it's a very persistence game. We are dealing with the most non-tech savvy people of our country who run the whole shop without using a calculator. So forget about the mobile device and everything. Uh, and then in the bright side, we are dealing with one of the most oldest business owner of this country also. So if you give them the real value of a business, they are going to like come on the platform. So what we did, I'll explain the first customer journey also. So we went to a couple of retailers. Everyone said no, because we said कि यार आप जितने का खरीदते हो उतने का हम लाके देंगे, एंड एवरीवन सेड नो, एंड पीपल वर लाइक कि यार ऑलरेडी है हमारे पास में, क्योंकि रिटेल में क्या होता है, एक वीकली बीट चलती है। पार्ले का बंदा मंडे को आएगा, ब्रिटानिया का ट्यूसडे को आएगा, एंड पार्ले वाला अगले मंडे को आएगा। सो एवरी लाइक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, एवरी ब्रांड कम्स वंस इन अ वीक ओनली। So retailers keeps a stock of a week at least, so that if they run out of stock, so either they have to go to the wholesale market, or they just have to wait for the guy to come in. There is no technology, there is no mobile ordering and all. And I'm talking about the 2015. So we were the very first company who started selling anything online to mom and pop stores in a country. So we said okay. So हम couple of like retailers के पास में गए. People said no because they had the product. So I found like okay, what is the quickest way to create it? क्योंकि पहले दिन से I believe on one thing, idea to invoice. So मेरा ऐसा मानना है as an entrepreneur, like 95% of the like people, if I ask, they have an idea. But when I talk about the execution, like again, like 99% don't have an execution. So I believe कि idea बहुत होते हैं, execution is the game. So I always follow this thing, that idea to invoice, how much time it's taking. कि एक बार आइडिया आ गया तो पहला इनवॉइस कितने दिन में क्रिएट कर सकते हो आप। सो आइडिया आ गया, हमने बात कर ली, सब कुछ हो गया, हमने प्लान कर लिया कितना बड़ा मार्केट है, बट इनवॉइस नहीं बनी आज तक कभी भी किसी की भी। तो हमने प्रॉब्लम समझ ली, सब हो गया, और जब हम इनवॉइस बनाने गए तो हमको 2-3 दिन लोगों ने मना ही किया कि ऐसा हमारे आते हैं, बंदे आते हैं। So what I did, I followed one guy in a wholesale market. मैंने देखा एक बंदा निकल रहा है एक होलसेल की दुकान से एक तेल की पेटी लेके। वो अपने तेल की उसने पेटी ली, महाकोश का ऑयल था, 700-720 रुपए का केस आता है। उसने वो लिया, कुछ एक और सामान लिए और वो अपनी लेके चला गया। उसका 5-6 किलोमीटर दूर थी दुकान। मैंने उसको फ़ॉलो किया, उसकी दुकान देखी एंड एक्ज़ैक्टली आफ्टर 72 आवर्स आई वेंट टू हिज़ शॉप एंड आई सेड वी आर अ कंपनी जो मल्टीपल ब्रांड देते हैं। आपको इतने सारे लोगों तक नहीं जाना पड़ेगा, इतना वेट नहीं करना पड़ेगा और आप हमसे कह सकते हो ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला। एंड ही सेड कि नहीं यार, नहीं, 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 नहीं। ही सेड नो, नो, नो। आई सेड ओके, आपको मैं मैंने कहा आप महाकोश का ऑयल कहाँ से लेके आए? ही सेड मैं वहाँ से लेके आता हूँ सियागंज से। आई सेड कौन-सी शॉप से लेके आए? ही सेड मैं उस शॉप से लेके आया। मैंने कहा कितने प्राइस पे लेके आए? ही सेड मैं इतने प्राइस पे लेके आया। आई सेड मैं एग्ज़ैक्टली आपको इसी पे लाके उसी से लाके आपको देता हूँ, बट आपके पेट्रोल का खर्चा बचा रहा हूँ। आपको जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। मैंने कहा यही तो ऐड है कि मैं नहीं चाहता आप दुकान पे अपनी छोटी-सी गाड़ी लेके निकलो। आप मेरे को बताओ, मैं लाके दूँगा, सेम ही प्राइस है, आप ही का जानकार है ना, आपको पता है, तो प्राइस में भी मैं आपसे कभी नहीं कमाऊँगा। कैन यू मेक एन इनवॉइस? इट वाज़ द वेरी फर्स्ट इनवॉइस आई हैव क्रिएटेड एंड आई सोल्ड दैट स्टोरी टू सो मेनी पीपल इन माय कंपनी कि यार हमारी इनवॉइस बिक गई। And which people got sold. And in the next day, everyone went to the market. So we were around like 8 to 10 people, including the operation and sales, everything. हमने ऐसे 5-10 लोगों के साथ में चालू किया काम वाम और सभी जाके सेल्स वाले थे, सभी जाके डिलीवरी वाले थे, सभी जाके परचेज वाले थे. So people used to work in a really race. So in the morning from 10 to 3 or 4, they used to go to the retail stores. They used to pitch the idea और वो उनसे कागज़ पे या मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन पे पहले हमने मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन जो इंस्टॉल लॉन्च करी थी, बट हमने उसको 3 महीने तक हम उसको डिप्लॉय नहीं कर पाए बिकॉज़ आई बिलीव कि टेक्नोलॉजी शुड मेक योर लाइफ सिंपलर, नॉट टफर। अगर मेरी मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन से इंसान उससे कम समय में कागज़ पे ऑर्डर लिख के दे सकता है, तो हम तब तक एप्लीकेशन डिप्लॉय नहीं करेंगे। सो वी इट वाज़ ए लाइक हमारा एक डिसीज़न था कि हम मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन शुड बी फास्टर देन राइटिंग ऑन अ पीस ऑफ पेपर। वी केम अप विद दिस थॉट प्रोसेस दैट 3 क्लिक की 3 क्लिक में बात हो सकता है। तो इट टूक अस लाइक 2-3 मंथ्स बट finally we deploy in the market. So that's how like we started off like 10 people. We used to take the order of the retailer and then we used to give that order to the wholesaler. We used to buy from the wholesaler by giving him a cash and we used to deliver on maybe on like smaller autos. हमने उस टाइम पे ओला उबर बहुत आई थी हिंदुस्तान के अंदर तो बहुत सारे कूपन देते थे तो हमने बहुत सारी डिलीवरीज फ्री में करी है ओला उबर के अंदर में भी हमारे पास तो बहुत सारे रेफरेंसेस हैं सो कस्टमर यूज्ड टू लाइक कि वाह यार ये बड़ी बड़ी सी कंपनी है कि एक टाटा इंडिगो लेके आया है कोई डिलीवरी करने के लिए so we exploited obviously. We wanted to test the tier two market, tier one market also. We started from Indore. And there's another day story I will share why we picked up tier two versus tier one. But we tested the market in Bombay. In Bombay, we also use the same thought process. Like there's a company called I think they're still working Portio or something. They recently launched and they had this bug in their application where they used to charge from A point to B point, right? Uh, so they had no and sorry they used to charge from A point to B point to C point to D point, and that's how like people used to charge. But their bug was if you go from A point to B point and come back again to A point. So for them, it's basically the trip has ended because you have reached to the same destination, right? But we use the same vehicle to purchase the product from the supplier to come back to the same warehouse, which actually ended the trip, and then we started the delivery. So in reality, we did maybe like 25 deliveries, but Porter used to give us like one delivery bill, which actually made the driver very angry because see normal तो companies चालू होती है टेक्नोलॉजी में तो वो होती है जो टेक कह रहा है वही है सब राइट और उसको ड्राइवर को पता है कि यार टेक बेवकूफ बना रहा है और हम भी कह रहे हैं यार देखो टेक कह रहा है वही है और वो पोर्टे वाला कंपनी वाला भी कह रहा है यार देखो हम क्या ही कर सकते हैं टेक है तो है एंड वी वर सो हैप्पी हमने कहा यार मतलब इसीलिए नहीं बनती है कंपनियां कि यार पीपल शुड एक्चुअली इंटरफेयर सो इट्स नेवर अबाउट एंड वी यूज दिस फिलॉसफी इन शॉप किराना हमने कभी भी टेक के भरोसे को कंपनी को खराब नहीं होने दिया बिकॉज सी व्हाट हैपेंस लाइक अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स हैपेंस ठीक है टेक फेल हो जाएगा ऑर्डर गलत लग जाएंगे प्राइस कम हो जाएगा भर भर के और हम B2B में हैं और B2B में तो 10 पैसा भी गलत डल गया तो आपको लाखों रुपए के ऑर्डर एकदम से आ सकते हैं बट उसमें मेरा लाखों का नुकसान है तो हम कैंसिल मार देते हैं कि यार गलती हो गई थी तो लोग बहुत चिल्लाते हैं कि यार ये कौन सी कंपनी है गलती हमने हो गई यार इंसान काम कर रहे हैं मैंने कहा यार देखो B2B में टू वे रिलेशन है So no matter, even today, if we have like more than 50,000 and we have like 1 lakh signups, जिसमें हम 50,000 करीब-करीब हम एक्टिव रखते हैं अभी तक रिटेलर, तो भले ही 50,000 भी रिटेलर है, बट कोई तो है इंसान, भले ही वो कस्टमर केयर हो, कि यार इट्स अ टू वे रिलेशन, कि यार कस्टमर को भी हमसे अच्छे से बिहेव करना पड़ेगा और हमको भी कस्टमर से, बिकॉज़ इट्स अ बी2बी एंड इट्स अ लाइफ लॉन्ग जर्नी। So we थोड़ा-सा हार्ड लेवल पे कस्टमर से भी, एंड आई फील कि दैट्स अ जेन्युइन वे ऑफ टॉकिंग विद लाइक ह्यूमन बीइंग्स. So instead of like putting up a voice machine, if you talk on a like genuine human language, then it works. So we started from इंदौर. हमने शुरुआत के अंदर पहले 100 रिटेलर से एक्सपेरिमेंट किया. उन 100 को हमने 2-3 ब्रांड्स के 2-3 5-6 प्रोडक्ट्स बेचे. वहाँ से हमको कुछ एक पेन प्रॉब्लम समझ में आई एंड वी वांटेड टू सॉल्व द पेन प्रॉब्लम एंड साइमल्टेनियसली वी वांटेड टू मेक श्योर दिस बिजनेस मेक्स सेंस और नॉट. क्योंकि आज तक कोई नहीं कर पाया था ये। तो हमको लगा यार खाली पेन प्रॉब्लम का नहीं है, मतलब सेंस भी आना चाहिए बिज़नेस वे पे।
आपका बेसिक ऑफरिंग क्या था दैट यू फॉर अ किराना वाला कि यू ऑर्डर एंड विद इन 1 डे यू विल गेट योर गुड्स
राइट, राइट। तो वी यूज्ड टू गे राइट, तो विदिन 24 आवर्स आप ले सकते हैं गुड्स।
एंड यू वुड चार्ज लाइक अपफ्रंट पेमेंट या क्रेडिट भी देते थे
नहीं,
आप?
नहीं, हम कैश पे काम करते थे पूरा। हमको मार्केट में जाने के बाद पता लगा कि मार्केट 97% तो उधार पे चलता है। बट वी सेड कि यार हम कहाँ से देंगे उधार? हम तो हमारे पास में नहीं है उधार। सो हमारे पास में था ही नहीं, तो हमने कभी दिया ही नहीं, एंड व्हिच बिकेम आवर स्ट्रेंथ. सो ऑल द ट्रांज़ैक्शन व्हिच वी डू टुडे, इट्स ऑल लाइक देयर इज़ नो क्रेडिट. सो हमको रियलाइज़ हुआ कि यार वो एक अच्छी चीज़ थी हमारे लिए, बिकॉज़ एज़ अ कंपनी आवर विज़न इज़ टू डू $1 billion सेल्स. But how can I give like $1 billion credit? I cannot. There are banks are going to give billion credit. So market में जो उधार देता है वो एक इंडिविजुअल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर देता है जिसकी जितनी कैपेसिटी होती है. कोई 50 लाख देता है, कोई 1 करोड़ देता है. तो हम मेरे को लॉजिकली ही नहीं सही लगा कि यार मैं दे ही नहीं सकता वो तो जितना हमको बिजनेस करना है.
नहीं तो फिर व्हाई डिड द किराना स्टोर्स स्विच टू यू जब आप क्रेडिट नहीं दे रहे थे?
Right. तो किराना guys switched to us because of the, again like I said, there is a pain problem. Pain problem is the same कि यार उनको 7-7 दिन वेट करना पड़ता है. और हमारे साथ में अच्छी बात ये हो गई कि जो किराना दुकान पे ऑर्डर लेने जा रहा है ना इंसान, वो खुश ही नहीं है आज भी हिंदुस्तान में. मतलब यूनिलीवर, आईटीसी, पीएनजी की सबसे बड़ी पेन प्रॉब्लम ये है कि सेल्स की टीम ही नहीं जाती है दुकानों पे. मतलब हिंदुस्तान में करोड़ों किराना दुकानें हैं, बट लोग नहीं है, मतलब कहाँ. और फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई गिव द पेन प्रॉब्लम कि जैसे बजाज एलिमेंट है या मेडिमिक्स करके एक साबुन है, तो मेडिमिक्स का जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है, अब वो इंदौर जैसा शहर मेडिमिक्स बेचता है 20 लाख रुपए का, ठीक है? अब जब 20 लाख रुपए में 2 डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर बन गए, मान के चलो 10-10 लाख के। अब 10 लाख रुपए के लिए जब वो लड़कों को भेजता है दुकानों पे, और जब वो लड़के 300 रुपए का बिल बना के आते हैं, तो उसके आरओआई नहीं बैठती उसको डिलीवर करने की। तो वो क्या करते हैं, वो जाते ही नहीं रिटेल दुकानों पे, वो होलसेलर में चले जाते हैं, जो बड़े पे जाएँगे। तो रिटेल पे तो कभी होता ही नहीं है आज तक, मतलब रिटेलिंग होती नहीं है और हर कंपनी इसी से परेशान थी। तो हमने कहा यार वी वांट टू बी द फर्स्ट डिटेलिंग कंपनी। तो हम डील में नहीं फेंकेंगे, हम होलसेलर नहीं पकड़े, हम प्योर रिटेलिंग करेंगे कि यार आपका दुकानों तक पहुँचा देंगे हम, तो स्केल करेंगे, आपका नेटवर्क अच्छा रहेगा।
तो व्हेन डिड यू स्टार्ट टाइंग अप विद कंपनी? मतलब शुरू में तो आप डायरेक्टली होलसेलर से खरीद रहे थे।
ऑब्वियसली शुरुआत में तो हम होलसेलर से करते थे सारा। हमने आस-पास की किराना दुकान से उठा के एक दूसरी किराना दुकान को भी दिया है सामान। बिकॉज़ अनटिल अनलेस यू हैव अ परचेजिंग पावर, ऑब्वियसली आपको कोई भी ट्रेड नहीं करेगा। नो मैटर, लाइक हम शुरुआत से ही कर रहे थे। बट हमने लाइक ऑब्वियसली लाइक नो ब्रांड्स एंटरटेन्ड अस इन द बिगिनिंग। सो बट वी हैड दिस कन्विक्शन कि यार हो जाएगा। People at that point of time, people obviously laughed because we were dealing with a non-tech savvy people. एंड लोगों ने हमको यही बोला कि यार जब हिंदुस्तान में अपने जैसे समझदार लोग, एंड इट वाज वेरी जेन्युइन क्वेश्चन, लाइक वन ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर आस्क्ड मी, ओके, डू यू बाय ग्रोसरी ऑनलाइन? एंड आई सेड नो. सो ही सेड, हाउ देन हाउ योर रिटेलर इज गोइंग टू बाय ग्रोसरी ऑनलाइन, क्योंकि आप तो समझदार हो, आपके हाथ में मोबाइल भी है. And it really struck my brain, and I said, and I replied to that investor, and I said, I don't buy grocery online because people, maybe like other companies, didn't work in a right manner to change my behavior. So I'm going to change the behavior of my retailer. So हमने एक सेल्स, हमारी बड़ी हार्डकोर सेल्स होती है, और हमारी सेल्स काफ़ी ऐसी होती है, हम बोलते हैं कि देयर इज़ अ इनफाइनाइट टाइम टू मीट अ कस्टमर, टू कन्विंस अ कस्टमर. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको एक डील में क्लोज़ करना है, और आपको ये उसको एक चीज़ बतानी ही है रिटेलर को. सो व्हेन अ टीम गोज़ देयर एंड द रिटेलर अगर बोल देता है कि यार हम अभी बात नहीं कर रहे, आपसे बाद में आ जाना, तो वो बाद में चला आता है, वो बाद में चला आता है, वो बाद में चला आता है, वो कहता है कल आना, वो कल चला आता है. और वो 3 से 4 विज़िट के बाद में जो एग्ज़ीक्यूटिव होता है, एंड दे वी ट्रेन दिस गाय टू से दिस थिंग. सो आफ्टर 3-4 विज़िट, वो उस रिटेलर को, उस कस्टमर को बोलता है कि सर देखो, मेरे को पता है आप मेरे को ऐसे ही भेज रहे हो, और मैं आपको ये दिखाऊँगा कि दोनों में से कौन ज़िद्दी है. क्योंकि मैं तो आऊँगा जीवन भर आपके, क्योंकि यार मैं सशक्तिकरण करने आया हूँ आपके। और ये सशक्तिकरण काम ऐसा है कि जब तक मैं आपको पहला ट्रांज़ैक्शन नहीं करूँगा ना, आपको लगेगा मैं कहानियाँ सुना रहा हूँ। तो अंटिल अनलेस आप नहीं एक्सपीरियंस करो, आपको नहीं पता लगेगा कि यार ये तो ऐसे ही आते रहते हैं। तो आप कितना भी बुलाओगे ना, मैं हमेशा ही आता रहूँगा। तो क्या होता है, सी वी आर टॉकिंग विथ ह्यूमन्स, राइट? सो व्हेन आई सेड इट्स अ पीपल गेम, इट्स रियली अ पीपल गेम. So you need to connect with customers. So this is not a retailer, it's a human being sitting there. So when you talk in a human language with a customer, either he smile or give you order, और वो गुस्सा होके आपको ऑर्डर दे देता है. So once he give an order, so basically now this guy data is now connected in our database. और हम ऐसा बोलते हैं कि यार एक बार हमको किसी ने गलती से भी ऑर्डर दे दिया ना, तो वो जा तो नहीं रहा अब जीवन भर. बिकॉज़ नाउ वी नो द पेन पॉइंट ऑफ दैट कस्टमर कि यार उसका पेन पॉइंट क्या है, क्योंकि हमको पेन्स पता है उसके इतने सारे. तो हमको तो सिर्फ फर्स्ट ट्रांज़ैक्शन चाहिए एंड दैट्स हाउ लाइक वी गो. सो नाउ इन द बिगिनिंग देयर वाज़ अ टीम, देन हमने पहले 100-150 ही लोग बनाए, उन पे रिटेलिंग पे वर्क किया. देन वी सॉल्व्ड पेन प्रॉब्लम. हमको पता लग गया कि हाँ, मतलब डिमांड तो है, और 100-150 में हमको ये पता लग गया कि डिमांड की क्वेश्चन नहीं है, देयर इज़ अ ह्यूज डिमांड एक्चुअली, काफ़ी बड़ी डिमांड है. कस्टमर की भी दिक्कत नहीं है, क्योंकि कस्टमर भी पता है। जो दिक्कत है वो ये है कि प्रोडक्ट जो आप ए पॉइंट से बी पॉइंट पहुँचा रहे हो, क्या वो पैसा कमा के दे रहा है या नहीं दे रहा? उसमें पैसा कितना चला रहे हो? क्योंकि डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर एक लिमिट के बाद में काम नहीं कर पाता, और इसीलिए इतने सारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर हैं हिंदुस्तान में। सो देयर इज़ नो वन डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर फॉर द होल कंट्री। सो एंड देयर कैन बी लाइक मेनी रीज़न्स. सो ऐसा नहीं है लोगों के पास में पैसा है, पर बेसिकली मॉडल नहीं है. सो वी स्टेड इन इंदौर फॉर 3 इयर्स. हमने पहले बिलीवर्स को पिच किया, ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज़ दिस इन द बिगिनिंग व्हेन वी वांटेड टू सॉल्व द यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स, इट रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ मनी आल्सो टू सॉल्व द यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स, बिकॉज़ इट रिक्वायर्स अ सर्टेन लेवल टू एक्चुअली रीच टॉक अबाउट द यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स. सो हमने 6-7 महीने पहले खुद का पैसा लगाया, फिर हमने एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट उठाया, एंड Sumit is the person who works for the funding investment in Shop Kirana, and he has been like doing from the day one. So we met amazing people. We met in our journey. We met like Samsung senior vice president. We met Cadbury senior vice president. And these people have become the angel investor. And when these people become angel investor, it gives a very high like conviction to you also, because there's a very hardcore money of these people. And like if I'm saying that the senior ex vice president of Cadbury invested in ShopKirana, so it proves that he understands like the supply chain of FMCG better than anyone else. And if he is investing in a new company which is solving the same customer problem, then obviously this is worth like going forward. So instead of money, I have this belief, Akshay, and I believe a lot of time like we hear कि यार like पैसा नहीं है, people say a lot, but I always say it back that पैसा बहुत है हिंदुस्तान में, believers नहीं है. मतलब जब फ्लिपकार्ट खड़ा हुआ तो ऐसा नहीं कि रिलायंस नहीं था, टाटा नहीं था, बिरला, एवरीवन वाज देयर एंड दे आर स्टिल देयर. मतलब हिंदुस्तान में पैसे की कमी नहीं है, हिंदुस्तान में बिलीवर्स की कमी है. मतलब लोगों को बिलीव नहीं होता कि यार छोटे टाउन आके ये कोई 7,000 करोड़ की कंपनी खड़ी कर देगा क्या? एंड यू वोंट बिलीव लाइक व्हेन पीपल रिजेक्टेड ऑन अ फेसेस बाय सेइंग दैट यार टियर 2 में कैसे चलेगा? एंड आई लाफ्ड एंड आई सेड कि यार मतलब सी द कंपनीज व्हिच I admire like Unilever, where 90% of the people don't even know who the founder of Unilever. And that's why I admire Unilever. Because when you make a company, you need to make it like a machine which runs 24/7 without you. तो अगर आप ही कंपनी हो तो वो कंपनी नहीं है. मतलब आप इंस्टाग्राम पेज चलाओ, वो ज़्यादा अच्छा है. So I believe कि I used to love this company, and when I love Apple and all this company, and मैं जितनी भी कंपनियों को प्यार करता हूँ ना, मेरे को पता है कि and in India also I love Reliance, I love Tata, and the common thing about these companies, and I'm talking about a very well established company, right? These are 550 years old organization, and these company fascinates me because these people really found a big way which was a hack कि यार ये जहाँ से पैदा हुई थी ना, ये बड़े शहर नहीं मूव किया, इन्होंने शहर बता दिया वहाँ पे. So like Jamshedpur, right? I mean, when you talk about the Xerox, when you talk about like these companies, like they have actually brought the whole world there, not with a new generation entrepreneur that after raising like 6, 7, 10 crore, they are moving their bases from one city to a very big like Bangalore or something by understanding कि यार यहाँ पे ज़्यादा लोग हैं, पैसा है. See, पैसा बहुत है हिंदुस्तान में, it's a believers है. So हमारा ऐसा था कि यार हम टियर 2 से तो नहीं निकलेंगे, and we will become the leader of the tier 2 and we'll show actually कि ऐसा नहीं है, कि it's never about the like.
तो व्हाई डिड यू डिसाइड टियर 2 इंस्टेड ऑफ टियर 1? मतलब आपने बॉम्बे में भी एक्सपेरिमेंट किया, तो वो क्या रिजल्ट मिला?
सो बॉम्बे में जब एक्सपेरिमेंट किया तो आई फाउंड कि लाइक बॉम्बे के अंदर जो पेन प्रॉब्लम हम जो सॉल्व करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जो ब्रांड साइड से जो हमको पैसा
हाँ,
देगा, क्योंकि
रिटेलर तो
रिटेलर हमको
एमआरपी
पैसा नहीं देगा कभी भी. पैसा जिसके पास में है वो ब्रांड है, राइट? राइट. तो रिटेलर तो और सस्ता मांगेगा हमसे, लेकिन पैसे वाला बंदा कौन है चेन में? तो पैसे वाला बंदा है कंपनीज़, ये यूनिलीवर, आईटीसी, पीएनजी, तो ये हमको पैसा देंगे। पर ये पैसा हमको इतने इस शहर में शायद नहीं देंगे, क्योंकि ये कंपनियाँ कोई भी हिंदुस्तान में कोई ब्रांड आता है तो सबसे पहले इन्हीं शहरों पे जाके बैठता है और यहाँ पे बैठा लेता है, राइट? लेकिन इसके नीचे नहीं पहुँच पाता, टियर 2 में नहीं पहुँच पाता, 3 में नहीं पहुँच पाता, वेयर 70% ऑफ द पीपल्स आर लिविंग, राइट? बट देयर इज़ नो सप्लाई चेन, देयर इज़ नो लाइक डेल मोंटे। लाइक इन इंदौर में डेल मोंटे, मतलब मैं आपको मेडिमिक्स, लाइक एवरीवन नो मेडिमिक्स, राइट? पूरे हिंदुस्तान मेरे ख्याल से जानता होगा। बट 20 लाख में से 10-12 लाख की सेल तो शॉप किराना कर देता है मेडिमिक्स की इंदौर में। और शॉप किराना 2 साल 3 साल पहले ही तो पैदा हुआ था, राइट? सो द प्रॉब्लम इज़ कि जो रीच है, जो टियर 1 के बाद में वो है ही नहीं कंपनीज़ की, एंड इट्स अ वेरी स्ट्रगलिंग वे, क्योंकि एवरीथिंग लाइक नथिंग इज़ कनेक्टेड विद द डेटा, नथिंग इज़ कनेक्टेड विद द टेक्नोलॉजी, कहीं ट्रांसपेरेंसी नहीं है, तो कुछ भी नहीं है। तो हमने भी रियलाइज़ किया मेबी लाइक इन फ्यूचर वी विल कम टू द टियर 1, बट आई थिंक लाइक एज़ अ बिज़नेस सेंस आई फाइंड लाइक टियर 2 इज़ द बिगेस्ट मार्केट व्हिच इज़ अनटैप्ड, एंड जहाँ पे लाइक लोग फोकस भी नहीं करते हैं, लाइक इट बिकम्स वेरी नॉन फ्रेंडली।
You were telling me about your funding journey. तो आपने फिर 6 महीने खुद चलाया, फिर नेक्स्ट 6 मंथ्स एंजल से आपने फंडिंग उठाई, फिर?
So we raised from like angels, and then we so whenever we raised any kind of like investment in a journey, we always came up with a milestone that and we always with a why we are raising it. So we never raised just for the raising, and as a like founders, we also believe that raising investment should not be celebrated, because it's like you are proving that you are unable to like generate a profit from your company, so that you need to sell your own equity. Obviously, it's a very big difference how you see things. But obviously, we also understand that the bigger the vision is, the more the investment you are going to take if you want to speed up the process. It's not like we need to spend like 50 years in our life to reach to that point. If we can like get like in 5 years, so funding was that kind of milestone. So we raised from angel investment. Uh, say why that we will actually reach to couple of brands जो हमको शायद कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर ले हमसे, और हमको एक बार कागज़ पे लिख के दे दे कि यार वो हमको 10% दे देंगे या 5% मार्जिन दे देंगे, बिकॉज़ उससे पहले हम सिर्फ़ होलसेल से उठा के देते थे। तो देयर वाज़ नो वन एट द बैक एंड जो हमको शायद मार्जिन देगा, हमको ही कमाएगा। So we raised from angel investment, we closed that, and then we raised seed investment. So we raised seed investment from Incubate Fund. We met now Murakami is the like partner in Incubate Fund. We met like Incubate Fund in Bangalore in one and only event where we all together went. हम पूरी ही जीवन में अपने 6 साल के हम कोई इवेंट में स्टॉल लगाने एक ही बार गए हैं, और वो भी तीनों ही एक साथ गए हैं, और वहाँ पे हम एक बंदे से मिलते हैं, और the Sumit actually is one of the most patient guy I've ever seen. He stayed connected with this guy, now Murakami, patiently for 1 year, and after 1 year we closed seed investment. Uh, so obviously, yeah, I'm talking about just one person. So just imagine how many person he must have been like connected for 1 year. So and when I say that this is a patience game, and I personally don't have that patience, and that's why I don't go for the investment, because what you do, you actually judge people then, and maybe like you come up with a very different kind of a thought process. Maybe you try to meet some other person also, and then you also. So we actually divided our work in that way where it accelerate our skill set, and that's why like, I handle the execution in like Shop Kirana. I handle the people part in Shop Kirana.
Okay. So Sumit looks after fundraise, you look after.
Fundraise like is, yeah, like Sumit is the Deepak basically handles the business operations of the organization. Deepak is the operational guy.
Okay. हम्म हम्म, ठीक है। इन्फो एज फंडिंग कैसे हुई फिर?
So like when we raise seed investment, so हमने seed investment raise इसी बात पे यही सोच के किया था कि यार let's prove the model, unit economics prove करते हैं, शहर burn नहीं करना चाहिए उस नंबर तक, and then we made it possible, and we had just one warehouse. We were doing I think like approximately 1 crore kind of a sale a month at that point of time. 1 करोड़ के आसपास ही थे, एंड शायद 6-7 महीने से थे। वी नेवर एक्चुअली वेंट टुवर्ड्स हाई स्केलिंग, क्योंकि हमारा थॉट कुछ अलग था, हमारा था कि हमको कुछ प्रूव करना है, उसके बाद में स्केल करने के लिए अलग हम जाएँगे। सो इट्स नॉट लाइक एवरी मंथ यू नीड टू डू ये स्केल। सो वी quickly came up with 1 crore a month number, and we sustained on that number for 6, 8 months to do the like correction in the bottom line, to understand the do the innovation, the lean model, operational, and we came up with a innovation of zero inventory model. We came up with a innovation in that like seed investment of दैट द थॉट प्रोसेस कि सामान जो शहर को खाना है या चाहिए, वो 90% शहर में ही है। सो आई डोंट फाइंड एज़ अ बिज़नेस लॉजिक to buy a shaving cream, to pick up a shaving cream from a Bangalore warehouse and deliver in my house in Indore when I know कि यार 2 गली पीछे तो पड़ा था वो, इतनी क्यों मेहनत करें? तो एज़ अ बिज़नेस पर्सन इट डज़न्ट मेक एनी सेंस। तो हम B2B में हमको पता है कि यार सामान शहर में ही है, तो आपको सामान खरीदने की ज़रूरत नहीं है दूसरे से। So can like we build a technology and connect that technology with the people by connecting with the brands. So we stayed in Indore. हमने नहीं किया कहीं भी स्केल। We have heard a lot from like our own ecosystem कि यार अब पैसा उठाया, सीड इन्वेस्टमेंट उठा लिया, हमको आगे बढ़ना चाहिए और स्केल करना चाहिए, people want to see scale and all. And I am still today like when people say and I'm still saying from the day one that there is no hurry because हम सिर्फ समझने की कोशिश करो लोग सॉल्व क्या करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। सी हम चाहे मीडिया देखते हैं तो हमको लगता ज़रूर है कि यार बहुत ज़्यादा पैनिक है, बहुत ज़्यादा सब हाइपर भाग रहे हैं, बट नहीं हो रहा किसी से। हम लाइक $600 बिलियन मार्केट की बात कर रहे हैं। मतलब रिलायंस तक से भी नहीं हुआ है अभी तक, आप समझने की कोशिश करो, मतलब पूरे ही ई-कॉमर्स मिला के 1.5% कर पाई है। सो इट्स अ वेरी बिग जर्नी और ये पैसों से सॉल्व नहीं होनी है क्योंकि पैसों से हो रही होती, तो पैसा था हिंदुस्तान में। ये सिर्फ न्यू इनोवेशंस और वो से होएगी एंड व्हेन आई रीड अबाउट द लास्ट 100 इयर्स इनोवेशन इन रिटेल, दीज़ आर वेरी माइक्रो इनोवेशन तो ऐसा कोई चमत्कार नहीं हुआ कुछ भी कभी भी। सो किसी ने कार्ड डाल दी, किसी ने बारकोड इन्वेंट किया, किसी ने किया कि दीज़ आर स्मॉल इनोवेशन व्हिच नीड्स टू बी फॉलोड फॉर द नेक्स्ट मोर 100 इयर्स टू चेंज द इंडिया रिटेल मेबी। तो हम उस थॉट प्रोसेस पे वर्क कर रहे थे। हमने लाइक ब्रेक इवन काइंड ऑफ लाइक 1 हफ्ते प्रूव किया एंड देन वी वेंट फॉरवर्ड टू रेज़ अ सीरीज़ ए। वी मेट ऑब्वियसली लाइक हमारा इन्वेस्टर थे इंक्यूबेट फंड। सो विद दैट लाइक रेफरेंसेस वी वेंट फॉरवर्ड इन द कम्युनिटी of raising investors and all. There was 2-4 calls before we actually we have been called as InfoEdge headquarter. पर उससे पहले एक आई भी थे शायद उन्होंने हमसे 2-3 कॉल पे ही कई चीज़ें समझ ली थी एंड देन it interested them and they called us at the office. Uh, and it's obviously like that meeting becomes always like that fundraising meetings becomes kind of like confidential always, but there are like some beautiful moments of that meeting that in the first meeting with the Sanjeev Bikhchandani, he got convinced, and within 10 minutes he sent like founders outside and he said like give us 10 minutes and we'll call you back. And after 10 minutes he called back and he said yes, we guys are interested, so let's do this. And like to be very honestly, I think within like that like 30 seconds it looks like आप शायद पूरे जीवन भर जिसे काम के लिए कर रहे थे वो शायद 30 सेकंड में किसी ने हाँ कैसे भर दी, राइट? सो बिकॉज like in fundraising you hear a lot of no's and you hear like maybe like an exponential number of no's, actually rejections, and then like someone like of that status. And so why Sanjeev? Because like I've been admiring Sanjeev from my childhood, and I always say that I was when I was in 7th class he started this company, and today actually he is one of the largest investor of my company. So that kind of like again the thought process and that the journey part, it makes like an entrepreneur I think like extremely happy than other metrics. uh, and the second thing why we were very excited because he is not just an investor, he is an entrepreneur first and then became the investor. I mean he created a $3 billion company, and there are more 2-3 more $1 billion companies under him, and like under age portfolio. And then in FMCG we were the very first company. So again it's again a validation for the idea that yep, if someone can become $1 billion from the InfoEdge portfolio in FMCG, we can be that organization. So we got like that open hand. And like when that kind of thought process, so we raised InfoEdge a series A from InfoEdge and Better Capital and like a couple of more investors or existing investors also invested in that round. But we raised just to test something else. Again, like I said, so whenever we raise, we first come up with a why, that why we are raising it, so that every like investors and us also have a clear understanding that we are going what we are going to achieve. So we came up with a why and we said that see this model is working very fine now in Indore. We have worked from like almost 3 years. We have did like everything is possible at our level, and now it's working. But now the challenge is, can this model work by replicating also? So जब स्केल की बात करते हैं बिज़नेसेस, तो लोग कॉपी पेस्ट की बात करते हैं, राइट? द स्केल वी केम अप विथ अ थॉट कि यार हम कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं करेंगे, हम रेप्लिकेट करेंगे,
What is the replicate model?
राइट? So, Akshay, like in replicate model, so what we have seen, I'm not going to name companies, but if you bring any balance sheet or P&L account of any e-commerce organization, so you're going to see that 80% of the revenue of these companies are coming from the top two cities maximum, and rest 20% is coming from the rest of the 20 cities, right? So what we realized that this is not the scale a businessman would do in his life, because there's a cost involved, right? Because there's a cost of people and cost of operating into that particular region. So we said that can we create a playbook which can help us in doing certain kind of a, like maybe launching certain kind of a modules in such a way that whatever the city is doing, like whatever the Indore is doing in terms of numbers and in terms of unit economics, can the another city also do the same thing? Because we are into tier two city, right? And in tier two, like most of the like costing are the same, right? I mean, and there's a huge also in terms of size of a city, in terms of traveling and logistically. I mean, we in Indore within 20 minutes you can cross the entire city, but in Bangalore you can't even think about this, right? So when it comes to doing a business, and it's not like Indore is a small place. Like Indore itself is doing 300, 1300 to 1400 crores kind of a transactions a month, and out of that 500 to 600 crores of grocery transactions are happening in the city. So even the smallest city also do very crazy numbers, right? So when if any business wants to prove, or any business wants to solve any kind of like problem, like I always believe that you don't need to scale to the entire country to actually figure out the value which you're going to give, right? So we said we created a playbook, we replicated the model, we launched cities within 7 days, and it was just a like very lean team, like 2 to 3 people. That's it. And the task of these people were to travel the cities, stay in that city for 72 hours, and hire 50 plus people, take a hub warehouse, assign vendors, and create a sales like the temporary channel which actually goes to the market and onboard retailers and work with the marketing team to execute the information of the communication. So I mean these are kind of like macro things, and then obviously there are a lot of like payments also involved, and the person needs to obviously spend like couple of amount to do like buy stuff and take a warehouse and brokerage and all this thing. And so we create a decentralized communication and decentralized decision making, and only because we had this playbook, so we knew that this task required this kind of like timeline, and this is the vendor, and this is the bottleneck can come up, and this is the helpline which he can get access to. And that's how like within 72 hours, this one person was launching cities back to back. It was a very crazy thing, because we believe that in this industry, obviously, like we are super connected with the competition, like super connected with the like people who are doing great in these business. I mean, when I talk about Walmart or Metro, when a Walmart comes into a city, it takes them 3 years to actually start making an invoice. So I said that the biggest strength of a startup is having a lean team and reducing the timeline. So because a Walmart needs to do a very heavy thing and heavy cost structures, and that's the like guidelines. But as a startup, we can actually go and launch within 7 days, because within 7 days, if we implement these modules, and in next 30 days, if it's giving the same number which Indore has come in last 3 years, I think then obviously like the model business is ready to scale. So what we did, we didn't raise seed from InfoEdge, we raised Series A from InfoEdge, and in, after raising Series A investment, we tried this particular model into Bhopal and Jaipur. Within 14 days and 7 days, we were doing like we started like doing like crazy business in Jaipur, and if I give you like snapshot of the achievements, obviously like because I've explained the whole journey of selling the wallpapers to actually reaching there and this kind of like transactions. So I mean, first month we gave a dent of 3 to 4 crores to Reliance Retail in Jaipur, and we gave it for the next 6 months continuously. Reliance fired almost like 25 to 35 people in that 6 period of timeline, because they were unable to match the numbers. and and the reason is like whenever like we because it's not humans who are working there. Obviously, like people were responsible for executing the stuff, but it was more about first finding out for the first 3 to 4 years that what's really can actually scale pretty quickly, which can actually give the value, and we can and you can do that in the lowest cost possible way. So we implemented both the things in Jaipur and Bhopal. We started capturing the very good market share.
This was which year?
This was around 1.5 years back. So after Series A, and
So, and why are you comparing with Reliance Retail? They have a cash and carry there. You're comparing with that, or you're comparing with the.
no, no, no. So I'm comparing basically. So Reliance have like different modules. One is Reliance Retail, and second is Reliance Fresh. And these two stores are for direct consumers. People can walk in and like buy stuff. But at in certain cities, including Jaipur, Reliance have one more model which is called Reliance Wholesale. So Reliance Wholesale. So they also have in Indore also. So Reliance Wholesale is a pure B2B model. So no one can actually walks in, and they actually sell to the retailers only. And the way we do. But instead of technology, they have these warehouses, obviously, and then they have like salespeople who go like a distributors, and they can order on their tablet or something, and then deliver.
So they're like your most direct competition in a way. This Reliance cash and carry business.
I would not say like the most direct because they are into because Reliance is into everything, right? So they are not particularly focusing only on the Kirana stores selling the FMCG and grocery, and it's a very different range. I mean, the numbers which we do in Jaipur. I mean, I'll give you the one city number. I think it will have the very good context that how it really helps to identify the right category and the right product because the knowledge says that whatever the modern retailer sells, these are the different SKUs what a Kirana guy sells, and it can be a different gram or it can be a different price at certain level, not like all products, but at certain level who do the maximum sales. Because that's why big MNC companies give them a product or approval to sell to the market when they are aware that 99% of the market into the hands of mom and pop stores, right? So Reliance basically, and then there is a Metro also, and there is a Walmart also. These are those stores who have like big like warehouses and where people can walk in and buy stuff. But they also require some certain kind of a licenses, and licenses they don't really want to see that are you the right Kirana guy or are you the business owner. You can be the any kind of like business owner, any kind of licenses. You can walk in, create three more cards. So with that, like the thing which keeps like shop kirana separately from this and today we see it's a very crowded space. Everyone wants to get a pie of the kirana stores, but still we have found our like niche space where we never distracted ourselves from a mom and pop stores who's selling mom and like FMCG and grocery. I mean, the territories where we work in, we there are apparels retailers also, the electronics retailer also, and I think that also the same model because that's the you just connect the suppliers and the distributor and you already have the things at the place. But the thing is it is the only thing which is untapped, and it is the only thing which no one actually were able to solve, this FMCG in grocery, because to actually transport 10 kg of a atta from A point to B point, or transport maybe a fair and lovely from A point to B point, it requires maybe a same different value of that product, but the fair and lovely have like different kind of a margin and very less weight, but the 10 kg atta requires a huge logistic cost, and also have a very thin margin. It's kind of like huge learning in that space. So the number I was giving to you about the Jaipur, that in Jaipur we have Reliance Wholesale, we have Metro there. Walmart is not there. We have Metro, and then there are a couple of e-commerce companies are also working in Jaipur. But amazingly, I'll give you the number how much we have closed in last January. So we have closed January. We launched a feature called Direct, ShopKirana Direct, because ShopKirana is a controlled marketplace. We don't believe in open marketplace where anyone can become the seller and anyone can become the buyer. So it has always been working in the same way. So in January, we opened up a feature into the application itself, and we said commodities we don't do because it gets huge volume. but it don't get a good margin and it doesn't make a business sense just to get the volume. So we actually took the priority not to do the commodity and let other people do the commodity who are already doing in the city.
So commodity means like loose atta, loose dal, all that.
Right. लाइक लूज शुगर हो गया, दालें हो गई, जो बल्क में लाइक काफ़ी ट्रेडिंग होती है, राइट? एंड इसमें मार्जिन नहीं होता। आई मीन द पर्सन हू इज़ अनऑर्गनाइज्ड, ही मेक्स सम मनी, बट द कंपनी इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज़ इट रिक्वायर्स अ ह्यूज लाइसेंस एंड टैक्सेशन एंड एवरीथिंग। बट कोई अगर बिना बिल के होलसेलर दे देगा तो दे देगा, उसको कोई नहीं रोक सकता एंड इट्स ही सेव्स लाइक 15%. So when a transaction of doing like people are doing like 20 lakhs a month, for them 15% is a big thing because they are doing since years and ages. So they are very much okay in not realizing, and that's the pain for MNC brands also, and they face because they cannot actually discount because the structure doesn't allow them to discount. But there's a local wholesaler who discount very easily because he really don't care about the structure, and he makes money because they don't make that money. Right? These are very small traders I'm talking about. Anyway, so we do more business than Metro closed January, and Metro is the biggest retailer of this country in numbers today, and Metro closed Jaipur with 16 crore of sales approximately in January in 2020 in Jaipur. We closed January with 42 crores of sales in Jaipur. And so that's kind of like more than double the numbers what Metro did. And Metro is operating from so many years. And we launched Jaipur 1.5 years back. And
And how much of this was from direct, the commodities?
so direct was like 50%. 50% was the direct. So all of a sudden, like it increased the like top line by 100%, more than 100%.
So direct say, what is your value proposition? You do the logistics there. Yeah, you are just allowing people to do listing.
See, the idea of direct was you know Udan, right? Like what how Udan works. So Udan. So we said that Udan actually operates a logistic, and that's how they created a huge network. Because if you go to a wholesaler and look, if you go to any trader and you ask a trader that there's a mobile platform, you'll get the order. You sell off like any prices you want, all margin is yours, and I'll also come at your place and pick up the product and bill deliver. So it saves them a huge money. And obviously it's a business strategy to like start making the margin after 2 years or 5 years after down the line. So that's the pure like business strategy everyone comes up. But what we said that so when I was working in the market, I realized that, and we all sat in a meeting in an office, and we said like how to compete with Udan because we don't do commodity. Udan is doing like commodity, and we have this. We see there is a competitor, but it's not like we it dented the market share of whatever the category we work in. We still do the biggest numbers in Jaipur, but how we can actually do exponentially great in all the cities, how we can actually go very deeply. uh, so we identify, okay, so they are the like commodity and all. So what I personally believe that जब हम बात कर रहे हैं कि 90% of the market is run by unorganized wholesalers and retailers and all, so we need to understand also कि वो करते भी हैं delivery, right? I mean they have this vehicle, they have like local traders, they have local logistic and vendors and all this thing. Every day they do this, and they thousands and thousands of people every day they do this, right? So I said, why when someone is already doing that, so why you want to solve that
Hmm.
problem? Because वो कर रहा है,
Hmm.
like 90% market is already doing that. अगर वो सारा अगर it was a pain problem, तो there were a lot of companies who were providing this value. So this is not a problem. The problem is only कि मेरे पास में, so again because of the shop kirana, the only change what we did is we will not do logistic because these people are expert in doing a logistic in lesser cost than we will ever do, like any company can do. So let them do that. We will help them to gain the market share the way we gain the market share. So instead of making 5 or 10 or 50 sellers or suppliers of one particular brand which happens in a marketplace, we said no, 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 we want to become the market share leader. So a supplier also wants to become the market share leader. So let's identify a person who can become the like territory king of this entire Jaipur, and will give them a demand. But they have to obviously supply and take the service part on him, and he'll earn the margin also because अगर वो like 2 crore कर रहा है तो we can help him in do like 3 crores. and that's the value we will do, because that's where we expertise is. So we'll not get ourselves into the heavy cost structure and any kind of like penny, just to try a competition kind of like feel. We will just like implement, and it really worked very 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 well. And then we implemented in Indore, and so like likewise, like we did like a lot of innovation for the new brand also.
So in this direct business, what is your commission? Like how much do you earn in that?
Right. So we charge minimum 0.5%, like minimum 0.5%. And then it depends, like for certain brands, we charge 10% also. And these are like those brands who maybe have less market share in that city, but they are like good brands. And maybe a new brand which is coming up the city, and we become the exclusive partner. So we charge like 10 to
But direct is like unbranded, no?
No, no. So what we do? So this is a structure. So we have created a ecosystem. So the idea of Shop Kirana is to create the ecosystem, not just to create a mobile application. So first we captured the retailers into that ecosystem, and we started giving him like value services other than selling the products. So now he can get the credit facility on the platform. Now he can sell. He can become the e-commerce player on Amazon. With the help of like Shop Kirana, like with the help of Shop Kirana, and he's doing that Amazon Easy part, and he can get the insurance. So these are the value added services, and it was always the last priority to add up once you actually get the good value addition for the sourcing part. So yeah, wherever the sourcing part is getting matured, so we are adding these values. And when it comes, and then the second layer which we actually picked is distribution, because Hindustan mein pura saman सिर्फ एक distributor and distribution system के through जाता है, right? And they are obviously it's very unorganized, it's very inefficient. So when we integrate our technology and our thought process and demand into that distribution model, then it becomes like super efficient, and it increases the demand also. So what we do, we created a layer, we call this ecosystem, and in that ecosystem there's a SK Direct, Shop Kirana Direct feature. It's just one application. In that application there are like three kind of like features. This is one, Shop Kirana Direct, and in that Shop Kirana Direct, what's really happening? These are the traders who are getting connected on the platform. So
Okay.
on that traders, we give them an opportunity to actually become an exclusive trader of that particular brand. So we actually show them a new brand which is coming. They get like good margin because it's a new brand, and these brands we commit to marketing and branding also along with Shop Kirana. So we help them to increase their demand, because that's how the brands need to launch. It's done. As a platform, I don't believe that without actually working on a brand building in a consumer product, you can actually put your product in a very huge number of retail stores in a general trade. I mean, you can sell online. You can get maybe like 2, 3, 5 crore a month kind of a sales, and when you sell online direct to end consumers, it will look good because you can get like 40, 50, 60% kind of like very good gross margin on that product. But in reality, when you go on a GT, you will realize that within 5 kilometer of a radius, people are selling more than 10 crores of that particular single product into that single category. So there's a huge gap between the transaction which happens on the offline on GT market and what happens online. So we created a Shop Kirana, like SK Direct, into that like a pillar, that we claim that it is the first and the biggest GT launch, basically general trade go to market platform.
Okay. Got it, got it, got it. Okay. So in a way, Shop Kirana is like जो Amazon Prime होता है, जो Amazon खुद deliver करता है. So that is Shop Kirana, and Shop Kirana Direct is where it is fulfilled by the vendor themselves. हाँ, ठीक है. Got it. Okay. Hmm. ठीक है. So in the last 1.5 years after you started your series A के बाद, when you started going into other cities, so how many cities have you covered? Like where are you now today?
Right. So it was a crazy scale because we never scale. I mean, as an entrepreneur, also, I will say, I mean, not just me, I think my both founders can claim this thing. And it's a opportunity for an entrepreneur to actually do everything in life for the very first time when you achieve certain kind of like milestone. So, as an entrepreneur, obviously, I have been like hustling and working, but I've never hired like hundreds of people in a single shot. I mean, I never had the money to hire the hundreds of people. I mean, I always say that the biggest highness which comes from an investment is understanding that now you can hire the biggest talent, and you can afford that talent, because it's kind of like bliss to actually work with the brilliant minded people. I mean, I wrote cat, I got like such a super bad percentile, and then my college got shut down, and then you can get people from IIMs and IIT and to work with these brilliant mind people, and to work with these people is a very great idea. So what I personally liked about like the investment is now we can actually pretty fast scale. After raising Series A, within 6 months, we raised Series B because in Series A, we scaled Jaipur and Bhopal. We showed the numbers. The number was coming within 30 to 60 days. We were seeing we were capturing the market share, and we realized the model is ready to scale now. And we again like went back to the like investment community. We again within 6 months we closed Series B round also with $10 million. And the idea was to quickly scale to another city, another part of the cities of that particular state. So it's a hyper local model like a Uber. We don't work on a state level. We work on a city by city level. So we have been working in 8 cities, uh, and these are the 8 cities comes under 4 states. So on when you see on an India map, you will see certain kind of like circle is becoming when you see these cities. And the idea of creating that circle on India map is because when we are, it's a business strategy. Because when you actually do the multi-city, and when you are also not a very big player, so you might face a inefficiency or maybe a issue in a supply of a product into that particular city. But when you are the circle into that particular region, like in the country level, so you can actually buy the product from one place and send it across to another city without bearing like huge logistic cost, and your service level still maintains. So we took this opportunity to scale into the Madhya Pradesh. We were into Madhya Pradesh. We scaled to Bhopal. Then we went to Rajasthan. We went to Gujarat and Surat, Ahmedabad. We went to UP. In UP, we launched in Agra, Meerut, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, Jaipur, Indore. These are very big cities, obviously, in terms of they do the transaction when we compare with Agra and all. But the idea is to capture 25 to 30 tier 2 cities of this country. I mean, like we are into Ahmedabad, but Ahmedabad is on paper it is a tier 2 city, but in terms of business, it is not honestly not a tier 2 city. It's a like 70-kilometer like stretch, and it is going towards a tier 1 city. It behaves like a tier 1 city, and it was a good strategy because again the business sense and like the people and the talent you get and the structures, cost, and everything. It is not like Bangalore and Delhi or Bombay, but still you can actually operate a tier 2 kind of like model there and have the beneficial of tier 1 sales and structure. And then we innovated. Once we entered into the city, we captured the market share. We have like 1 lakh plus network of retailers, wholesalers, and traders, and distribution, and everyone in the ecosystem. We and like this 1 lakh plus is including like everyone, which I like said about. But these are not only from these 8 cities. So what innovation we did, we created another model while working. We said that can we actually create a KPP? So KPP are the one of those model where we innovated again, and we created business partners into 150-kilometer radius of any hub where we operate into this country, and we started supplying to these people also so that they can actually go into that particular tier 3 and tier 4, and they can increase the network. So indirectly we started creating the network in the tier 2 3 with the help of these structure. Third, like scale, which we did after Series B is we start building brands. I mean, the success which I see, the success formula. There are three basically points. I think I explained this earlier also. Uh, 5 years back when we started this company, we wrote down these three things that how we are going to succeed. Uh, and there's only 3 points. The number one is build network, and it's a network of retailers or customers or like brands or contract manufacturers. And number second is build technology system and processes, because if a company is run by you, then it's going to be a very big failure. So the company needs to run by the system and processes. That's what I have learned from very big organizations. uh, Third thing is build brands on about that. So we created a network. We started creating a network by taking a commission from FMCG brands. These are Unilever, ITC, P&G, all these big brands. Uh, uh, I have also faced a lot of arguments and many obviously conflicts that these are very big brands. I mean, even Metro, Best Price, they have like 11 to 12% kind of like gross margin. like at such scale. So how the margins, and like I'm pretty much sure that when you talk about the Unilever, so Unilever is not going to give you more than 10 to 15% of a margin in any way, right? And so it's not like 100% of a kind of a gross business. But when we talk about the numbers and when we talk about the scale, it's kind of like 50,000 crore or 1 lakh crore kind of like transactions. So when you actually take the transactions and get it like 2%, that's also like very big in terms of the profit which the whole industry makes. And that's why these like very big retailers survive, and smaller don't, because this model at after certain level, once you actually prove the model, it works only at this scale level. So it doesn't work at a city level or what, because once you actually want to create a scale of maybe a very big billion-dollar organization, so like creating a unit economics for just one city and being a profitable in just one city doesn't really help, because there's thousands of businessmen who are already profitable in that city before you are doing the same business, but they never knew and they never understood how to scale and make a bigger business. So we always argue that obviously it's right at the very first level you have to prove that can you actually make a business sense at one city. But once you actually make, now the second job is to scale, and after it scales, then you need to again figure out then all the cities make the business sense or not. And if it doesn't make the business sense, then obviously you scaled in a pretty bad direction. So that's what we call the replication. So whatever the number in the was doing, 80% of the same number other cities are doing. Some cities obviously are big enough, so they do proportionally very big. Like for an example, I gave you a number of like Jaipur. So in Jaipur, we launched direct also, so it contributed 20 crores extra. And in other business also, Jaipur is obviously bigger than Bhopal, so we cannot like compare Jaipur and Bhopal the same number. But when we talk about the proportional level, at like 85% is coming like the same, which obviously gave us the confidence. So we created a network, and the second thing, we started building a technology very deeply for the retailer, for brands, for suppliers, for internal employees and warehouses. We had to create everything from the scratch, because what really is there in the market, that you can find a ERP system, you can find a order taking application, you can like find anything like I think whatever we have built. But the thing is, you cannot find just one platform contributing everything from end to end. So these are all like different thing which solves a different problems. So it's not the same, because B2B market is totally different. Uh, and we build the technology, and in like third or fourth year of the company, we after raising seed investment, and I think like pushing forward after like raising series A, we we told ourselves like, let's start learning how to build brand, because we raised a good amount of money. We for a learning cost, we cannot go back to the school and learn how to build brands, but as a consumer brands, we are into a platform business. But if we actually build the brands, so we can actually build these brands on the existing network. And there is a very big difference between building a brand and selling a private label. So we always make sure that we are into building brand and we are not into private label. And the difference is, when you talk about the private label, you talk about the private label about selling on the same platform who invented them, right? So Metro sells their own dals, Best Price sells their own like products, Reliance sells their own products, Big Basket sells their own products. But these are those basically those products who sells on their own platform, because that's the data capturing is happening, that what where we can actually put the product and it gets start selling. So we said no, we want to build a brand, and the thing about brand is that there are other people in the market who are ready to sell your product, so not to the direct consumer. So if there are no traders, if there are no retailers and no distributors, then there's no brand. So we don't and the difference is, no one actually goes to the Kirana stores to buy Reliance dal. People go to the Kirana store to buy maybe Ashirwad kind of a atta, right? So they don't go and say like Best Price ka atta though. And that's the difference between a brand and to build a brand, you need to like create a demand so that people actually leave their home and go to the offline market and ask for that particular product. So it was a very big learning, because we were like experimenting from last 3 years. We were seeing some traction on certain products which we did experiment, but once we stopped selling, we didn't see any traction. So we realized basically they were the people who were responsible to push the product into the channel, and we were doing numbers, but there was no demand of that product. So we failed in creating a brand. So with like Series A investment, we sided like certain amount. We again like picked just one city, Indore. We painted, to be very honestly, we painted the entire city in an orange color kind of a thing. We placed like 1,000 billboards in a city, uh, in on a Kirana store. We placed like 1,500 approximately counters of Kisan Kirana on a counter. Like we did like thousands and thousands of obviously danglers and all. We did 200, 300 kind of a big walls. I mean, uh, also like as a startup and as an entrepreneur, as really starting from like zero, this company, we understood the value of money. So what we did in advertisement also, we innovated advertisement modules. We said that when you go to the agency and when you ask for a billboard, they ask you 50,000 to 5 lakhs kind of amount a month for that billboard. But uh, just nearby that billboard, I see a very big house because we are living in a tier 2 city. It's not like they are very big multis, it's very independent houses. And I see a very big wall. So why not you go there, ask for his wall, and ask him that we'll give him a 1 month free Kisan Kirana, and it was just 1,000, 2,000 bucks. So we just tried that, and everyone loved that idea. And within 7 days, we had 200 billboards hanging across the city without paying anyone a money of
Wow.
agency, and it created the fucking like very big thing. Then what we did, we actually went to the auto stands, and the idea of building a brand, that there are two things which I learned because as a formal learning in any company in my entire life, I did in Mudra Communication in my second year of my MBA. I went there for my internship. Mudra Communication is the second largest advertisement company. It's owned by Reliance, and I went there for 45 days internship. I learned like couple of things there. I worked on a project called Volkswagen. I worked on certain project with these people, and I was very curious that how they actually run the advertisement agency. And instead of learning how to become a good copywriter or art director, I actually asked my boss in Mudra that can you show me different department what they do and how they earn money and all the thing. And she was very she was like amazing person. She actually asked me to meet the art director of the Mudra, who helped me actually understand this particular thing. And in second year I went there. I came back. I launched my own advertisement agency in Indore, and that was the like Napster era, which I talked about. So, yep, like this is the thing. Like we have like scaled pretty fast from like after raising Series A, we have scaled in numbers of brands, people. But if I talk about the growth, I'll not say that because we didn't stop scaling before raising Series B. We are like once we started we raised Series A, we started scaling, and Series B was the part of that particular scale. So if I give you like a little bit of the context of the number of the growth, so we have grown from 25 to 1,000 people in 1 year. From one city to we are now present into 4 states. We have like 1 lakh plus kind of like network on the whole ecosystem. And Shop Kirana is one of the highest average order size per customer a month, or per order per customer also in the industry. Uh, we did innovation because in retail, what I believe there's a very small innovation which happened because I mean we don't see a very big magic, but we see a very tiny small innovation which contributes in a very big kind of like numbers, like a barcoding system in the cart and all this thing. So I realized that for a retailer, there is no channel. I mean, for brands also, there are no channels to launch a products in FMCG and consumer in a GT market, general trade market. And so, can we come up with something? So we created a flash sales kind of a thing, which helps brand to launch a product overnight in a city. And we use that particular, obviously, like it's our own home ground like feature. So we use it to launch our own brands. Uh, we did that kind of like marketing like for like Kisan Kirana, and we launched that Kisan Kirana on this particular module. Uh, then because of the database and like all the gap which we have found, we use the money of marketing and doing these innovation. It was like huge kind of like people honestly didn't know about Shop Kirana, but almost like 10 out of like 8 people knew about Kisan Kirana because as a Shop Kirana, we never pasted a single sticker also. because it's a B2B company. We know who are the 4,000 customers. You don't need to waste money on marketing and just go there, convince them. It's a hard B2B play, human to human. But Kisan Kirana was a consumer brand, so it was the very first time we were trying to do something. It worked, and milestone was, can we do 1 crore of a sale in a city of Kisan Kirana, just Kisan Kirana, before thinking about scaling this brand. Uh, and we did that within 6 months. And 1 crore is a very big amount because the category which we were doing, we had the competition from the local players because there is no Unilever ITC in that particular category. So we had these players, and every city have these players, and they do very good business. And we have this Poha, the biggest manufacturer or like the biggest like brand of like Indore in Poha, and he is present like in Indore from 15 to 17 years. Traditional family home ground business, very well reputed like brand, and they do approximately 1 crore kind of a sale, 1 or 1.2 crore kind of a sale a month, and we achieved that sale in like 6 months. So obviously, like it like, made a team very happy that certain times what really happens that you come up with your own mental block, and if you don't have a mental block, you actually go very deeply into the market, and because I've always believed I handle the execution in my company, and there's a lot of weakness in personally in me when it comes to work also. I and The weakness is basically majorly comes from the kind of like giving a priority towards the speed to get the things done. So I sometimes like bypass the maybe the structure which I created just to get the speed done, the things to get in a very fast pace. And I believe that this is the DNA which we have built in ShopKirana also, like without actually intentionally putting into the perspective that now everyone like work in the way that they have to like get it done fast instead of like wasting time in like finding the perfect thing, or maybe confusing the ecosystem that it's gonna take years or so. Because it also gives an advantage at the company level. I explained my team that when you actually go in speed, when you achieve that number, you actually increase the probability of a success because of two reasons. Number one is you if you fail, you fail very fast, and you can actually like do understand the mistakes and all. And the second thing is when you actually go any speed and get the success, you actually give no time to the competitor to understand what really happened. So you like within like blink of an eye, you actually capture the market share. So what happened in Jaipur? It was just blink of an eye, right? I mean, obviously, if I mean like to be like very frankly speaking, I mean, we cannot compete with Reliance. If Reliance headquarter decided in their boardroom that who the hell this shop Kirana is, I'm sure that they would have like killed us. But the thing is, obviously, like we wanted to see that if it works or not. Like, do we have like that kind of like passion? Can we like create? I mean, why we actually did that 20 crore in the commodity for the very first month in direct also because I was sitting with Deepak, and Deepak is the person who comes with a huge background in FMCG and like brilliant person, the gold medalist and all. And he is a he's one of the most practical person. I mean, when I compare why like was the DNA of a shop Kirana, it's kind of like three different identity are running in this company. And the great part about all these three identity are all the three people thinks very differently. So it complete like it helps you to keep on the pace in the right direction. So the company never go on a very high speed. The company never go on a very slow speed. So it always a mixture because someone is there to push or maybe pull back. That's not working. Deepak is the system process guy. He works on a super practical like situation. He works on like super practicality. He don't believe in a like kind of like magic, and he hates the word automatic. So he always say that nothing happens automatically. There are like certain things you need to do to. So never say that ye viral hoga ye hoga. So in for doing a viral also there are certain things people do. So it never happens automatically. So he is, and I'm the kind of like that person. I'm like, yep. And if we don't know what are those things which are going to work, so we need to work maybe 10 more things very quickly, and that's how like we'll figure out. So, and that's the combination. So how we work. So I handle the execution. I go to the city, I launch, I keep the retailer, I keep the business, and I know I have created a whole like structure and organized structure. I've hired people. I have like started the sales. I have now retailers on board. I have brands and warehouses, and now like invoices are making people are making the invoices, orders are coming in, and it's getting dispatched and getting delivered, money is getting in the account. So it's kind of like order to basically the bank deposit. And once at certain level, I give the whole structure to Deepak, who handles the operation the day to day. And his job is to make it a sustainable, and his job is to actually eliminate the mess which I've created in creating in a very super speedy way. And
Okay.
I've always, and I think I take this as an advantage because I know like Deepak is going to solve this thing. And if I hire maybe wrong people at wrong place in a while taking quick decisions, I know like he's going to like solve this thing. He's going to come back and he's going to ask that maybe he needs the training and maybe like we need to shuffle. So it's not like if I inserted certain weak modules, so it's always and always going to get it sorted out because there's one another responsible person out there. So there's the combination which we work in. Sumit, on the other hand, is one of the, I think, like the best gentleman I've ever met in my life. To be very honestly, I mean, there's like huge etiquettes in terms of. I mean, I've never seen like Sumit wearing a like salwala t-shirt in my whole fucking life in like 5 to 6 years. So I'm like, okay. I mean, this guy is coming from a very good family. It's a pure business family. He went to Carnegie Mellon. He did a lot of internship in a lot of very big companies and worked on very few projects and came back and joined as a co-founder and we started the company together. And so हम पैसा मांगने सुमित को हमेशा सामने भेजते हैं because he looks very gentleman. अगर हम अपने तीनों में बात करते हैं कि यार अगर people if it's about people, so I am the person who handles the people part. I am the person who actually take care of the whole people management and HR and execution, and I take care of the brand building and the marketing. Deeper is the person who take care of the maximum operations part, like daily sales and operations, delivery, the unit economics and the operations, everything. Sumit is the person who take care of both of us and the investment and the finance part for the company. And that's how like we divided the roles, and I think these are the roles are coming from the own personality and the characteristics which we love. I think if I was the person who was doing the fundraise, I don't know like how many founders can say this thing, but I am like pretty sure that if I was the person who was responsible for the fundraise in the initial days, I don't think that we would have ever raised like investment. The reason I think comes not because of the company, what the company is doing. The reason comes because of the patience, because it requires a huge patience. And Sumit is the person who actually works on a relationship instead of like money, because I mean, the people who actually invested in ShopKirana, these are very good people. They're coming from a very big background, very amazing experience. So it's not just the money which we actually achieve, it's the like great background and the connection also.
So, ladies and gents, that was Tanutejas Saraswat, the founder of ShopKirana. For all the retailers out there, do check out the ShopKirana app or website to get access to tons of exciting offers backed by excellent service levels of the ShopKirana team.
If you like the Founder Thesis podcast, then do check out our other shows on subjects like marketing, technology, career advice, books, and drama. Visit thepodium.in, that is thepodium.in, for a complete list of all our shows.